Hi everyone, Emma here. I'm so excited to show you how to make this bracelet. These are items I got from Beebeecraft, and if you're interested, the links are in the description for the items. So there's the first one is the eagle slider bead or component, and they were $12 for 10 of them. So, you know, a little over $1 a piece, and this is what they look like. They are incredible and quite thick, the component, so we do have to put a thicker piece of leather, and if you don't have a thicker piece of leather, I'm going to show you how to do it so you can see it just looks amazing. So we just put glued two pieces together to get that thickness for this. Just make sure we get the light here so you can see. So again, you can see these are stunning. They're stainless steel and they are absolutely amazing. So we'll leave one of those out. And then the other item is these lovely slider beads. And they have like the finish on them looks like, or the design on them looks like a basket weave. Let me see if I can get this a little bigger so you can see. Absolutely stunning. And these were in a package of 10 for $9, so about $1 each. You're going to need 2 of those. Now they're slightly different on the back and the front. If you see these, this is the front aspect, and on the back, and who knows, somebody might consider this the front, but you have like the little square outline and then the basket weave as well, which is different from front to back. So you might want to figure out how you want that placed. I feel like the design is maybe made to look flatter on your wrist, but it doesn't necessarily, because it's pretty even all the way around. So let's get started. Again, the links for these items and the other items in the unboxing will be in the description. You can also use Emma10 for 10% off your entire order. And don't forget that $25 or more gets you free shipping. So let's get started. You will need some type of clasp. These are the clasps that I use for this. You can use like a wider flat clasp, but I felt like with the thicker leather I needed a bigger hole, so I'm using one of these, and I got these online, and they're super easy to find. Just let me know if you're interested and I'll pop a link in there for that as well. So they're magnetic and they're nicely curved. I do have an unboxing of a whole bunch of magnetic clasps for leather work. So you can see nice and thick. So I'm going to show you how to cut your leather really simply. And you do need some tools, and the tools that I have, most of the stuff I got on Beebeecraft as well, and super cheap, cheaper than Amazon, same items, so there you go. So I started out with, and I didn't, let me see the measurement for these. These are 1/2-inch strips. Let's double check that. Yeah, 1/2-inch strips. And this one here fits a 7.5-inch to 8-inch wrist, depending on how tight the person likes it. I'm going to make one for my wrist, which is 5 3/4. I'm aiming for a 6-inch wrist. I find when there's these stainless steel metal pieces and like rigid leather like this, I don't like it super tight on my wrist, so I give it a little bit more room than normal for a bracelet. So I went ahead and cut. So if I'm aiming for a 6-inch wrist, I cut these to 7. So you'll need like an inch more than what your wrist size that you're aiming for. And don't incorporate, like, multiply and subtract your clasp distance, because there's quite a bit of room inside the clasp, so you actually don't gain much in the length of the clasp, because the leather goes to about here on this side and here on this side, so you're only maybe a quarter of an inch, and I just incorporate that in the width of the bracelet anyway. So let's get started. First thing you're going to do after you've cut, just cut some rough, let me flip this now, just cut some rough pieces. Make sure your lines are straight, and there's a couple of ways to do that, and if you're interested, I can do a video showing you step for step with your leather, cutting it, all that stuff. But for this video, we'll just go ahead and use the strips I already have. So they're 7 inches long. I'm going to move my ruler. I'm just going to use this over my mat so that there's no mess. It's going to be messy. So I have them with the rough side facing each other, so we are going to glue these together. Now, when you're gluing thicker stuff together, if we start here, so you pinch that, and we glue this in a circle, you'll see what happens. The inside circle, you don't need as much leather. So for the sake of the few, maybe a centimeter or so, I don't worry about cutting them one shorter than the other. I just make sure I just cut that at the end. So in the meantime, I'm going to use my mandrel to keep the shape, the round shape of my glued unit. So let's just start with, I have some leather cement glue. It looks like craft glue, but it is definitely for leather. So just go ahead and, let me bring this out a bit, spread some, just a fair amount, but it doesn't have to be super saturated. And you're going to put that on, you're going to spread it, and you're going to let it get tacky a bit. So I have a spreader. You can buy these online too. I'm pretty sure Beebeecraft has these too. Now you want to make sure you get your glue right to the edges. So I'm going to try and move that over. Just there, like that. Yeah, so we probably have lots more glue than we need. It's amazing. Once you spread it, you don't need that much. So now be careful when you're using your glue that these pieces that got there, let me get a tissue. If you move your leather over and the shiny side of your leather gets on that glue, it's a bit of a mess. So there is a way to clean it, but who wants to be cleaning your leather when you're trying to make something? Okay, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to try and scrape some of this excess off. There. Make sure I get right to the edge here. There. Get some more tissue. And we're going to grab this one. We'll let this one get a bit tacky. And then do the same. I'm going to just swipe it and see what happens. Okay, I'm going to go the other way. Even it out. So I hope everybody's doing well and having a nice beginning of summer. I hope it's not too hot where you are. We've been having a heat wave in Nova Scotia and across Canada. So I'm guessing the same in the States and England. Okay, just these guys. Okay, so this one's starting to, you see it's getting clear. So that's getting tacky. Let me see if I can, yeah, that's good shape. Okay, we should be good here. This little piece off. So I'm just gonna flip and put this on. So I'm gonna pick my beginning end. That. And I have these clips. I'm gonna hold this together, so that'll be the one side. And remember how I said we have to create a circle for your wrist. So there's my 6. So I'm going to start from this side. You can use like a jar if you don't have a mandrel. And keep going. Just want to make sure it's all in there. There. I'm going to take this off. There's a bit of a curve here. I want this to go like that. Yeah, I'll put that back on. And you should leave this on till it's dry. But you can see how quickly this glue dries. So I'm just going to go through that in there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that excess off. So I have a special cutting board. This I got from Beebeecraft. It's amazing, and if you were to buy it anywhere else, it's really expensive. Okay. So I want to try to maintain your circle when you're cutting, which can sometimes be challenging. Let me see. What's the best way? There. Okay. Throw that away. So there is the form for your, to start for your bracelet. So, trying to get some better light on this for you. I apologize. I have one of my lights is not working. So Amazon sending me one right away. So now what we want to do is we want to create a curved edge here. So I'm going to take, this is a fine tool. See how tiny the edge is? This actually just takes the little corner off. So you're going to start on one side here. That's where I want it. So just, it's called an edge beveler in case you're wondering. And you can get these on Beebeecraft as well. Just go to the corner. And it's just going to cut the little edge off. You see the little fibers coming off. So you can see it's a little bit rounded now. You can use, I have another tool. You can use a thicker one to take more off. I like to start small like this and then go bigger after. And that's just maybe because I'm new to this, so I don't want to gouge the leather and take too much off at once and then have to get a new piece of leather. And we're going to do this on both sides and on the inside edge as well. What this does is it, as the name says, it's a beveler. So it creates a bevel. So then when we go through and sand this piece, we're going to get this nice rounded edge. Okay. So we got that side, so let's flip this side and go around. This is a high concentration here. I think, you know, when I do beading, I'm very confident and, you know, a little faster and stuff. I think being new to leather work, I'm always like really cautious. And I think it's because the leather's so expensive. Now, as for the leather, I got my leather from like a private company, and like a kind of like Etsy, but this guy has his own website and stuff, and it's here in Canada, but you can definitely get this from places like Tandy Leather. So I'm going to do the inside edge as well. I watch videos when they do the leather work, and they do a lot of editing. You can imagine, one, there's a lot of work to it, so you know they skim through some of the more tedious parts. And secondly, I tried to figure out how they could cut the leather so well without making any mistakes, and I just come to the conclusion that they're editing, starting over and stuff, because I have bought some really nice knives and cutters, and it's like, no, it's the skill of it, practice. So the inside seems to be going better. So if you have any suggestions for things on Beebeecraft that you're interested in, I always tell people to let me know, and I'll order it for the next collaboration. Get here. Now I might use the thicker one for the inside because it's you're not going to see it as much. Because this one doesn't seem to be, I'm not getting a good edge here. There we go. It's hard to do this on camera, by the way. The camera's in the way. I'm trying to use my thumb to be the gauge. It's really hard to see where the edge is here. There we go. Let's see how we did. That's a little better. Let's try this side. Actually, that side looks pretty good. Let me see if I can take a little more off there. Okay, so that's the edge. So then I've got some really fine sandpaper, and you can get these online as well. This unscrews, and you put your piece of sandpaper in there, and just go through and sand the fibers and the edges. And I'm kind of taking into account the edge as well, so I'm kind of going slightly on the edge to give it that rounded effect that I want. And if there's any choppy lines from the edge beveler, that will take care of that as well. That. And around to the middle. Keep going. Perfect. I'll do the other side. So you can see already it's starting to get rounded. Here's the edge that hasn't been done yet. So let's start with the flat cross. And you don't need one of these, is the other thing too. You can just use a piece of sandpaper folded. So, okay, now get into the edge here. And do the inside edge. Okay, now we're going to clean up these edges here and cut the little angle that I discussed earlier with the clasp. So you can see, you know, this is a way to adjust it for the clasp that you have. It would be nicer if the clasp was straight across like that, but this is what we have, so we'll use it. It's all about the problem solving. So what we need is these little kind of edges, and there's a really cool trick. So you can get these on Beebeecraft, a set of these. They are cutters, so they're like a blade here, and they have like different sizes. I think this is probably the second one in the size. There's a tinier one. They're meant to cut rounded edges on your leather. So say I was making a bracelet and this was the end and I'd put a snap here, then I would take this, I would take the larger one that would fit this length and you chop it that way. But the thing that I love is when you take a tool, it's not intended for this aspect, use it a different way. So we're going to arch on the side this way and cut that notch, and then you have a perfect, nice, semicircle. So I'm going to use my hard surface for the cutter, and I'm going to maintain my circle shape. It's a little kind of harder. Actually, if I had something higher to put this on, let me see what I have here. See if I can elevate this so that my curve doesn't come out here. So let's just do like this here. So you're going to take your edge and you're going to remember that, where's the clasp here? You want to leave enough leather down the middle to fit in the clasp. So you don't want to cut out too much of it. So let's just do something like this. Okay, so put it on the edge. Hold that there. You're going to get your mallet. It usually goes through faster, but I don't want to tap it too hard. I think I got through there. Let's see. If you're not sure, just, yeah, it went through. Just, oh, it didn't go through on that edge. Okay, so just take that piece off. I think it's this is not working. Moving around. Okay, so you can do that same thing on the other side. Grab your tool. Don't want to go too far in. This was probably a little too far on the first edge. So let's try this. There. And if it doesn't want to come off, I find the leather that's like really fibrous, kind of the fibers hang on. And we can just clip these here. And double check with your magnet. So that's really good. So that will go in perfect. Okay, so we're going to do the same on the other side. Just to about there. Get in here a bit. And the other side. Hold on to that. There. I think we can move that aside. Let's just clip that out. These are crappy scissors. Let me get some flush cutters to cut that. There. That needs needs to be cleaned up a bit. Let's see if I can do it on this side. Okay, where's my flush cutters? Like that. So now we're just going to sand these as well. We're going to try and round these edges. You can take that same tool and just, you know, cut that little edge. It starts to get a little finicky, so you want to be careful. I do have a sanding stick that can get into this edge. And you don't have to worry about sanding it too much, because actually the more fibrous it is, the better for the glue to stick. It's mainly this little corner here that we want to kind of round out a bit. And you can use your beveling tool as well for that. There, that's that side. Try and get this in there. There. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put some conditioner on this. It's a burnishing gum. Oh, wait. Before we do that, we're going to stain it. So you can see this color is kind of a darker than the side. So we're going to stain it. I just have some tan leather. Saddle tan. Yeah. So I just take one of these wool daubers and just gently dab it in there. Now you might want to wear glue or wear gloves for this. This is really messy, but we'll try not to be messy. You know, it's funny, I wore gloves as a nurse my whole career. I would never think to do anything without gloves on. The funny thing is, I do not like wearing gloves now. I just get my hands dirty. Like, okay, let's keep going. I'm being careful not to put too much of this dye because it will seep into the edge on the front, and I don't like that look. Some people, you can, I think some of the other leather workers will actually put like a painter's tape to protect the front and stuff from that, but okay. And just keep going around the edges. Michael's has markers, leather dye markers that you can do this with too. Just want to make sure that looks good. To the other side. Let me make sure the inside of this is coated. There. There. Turn that around. I'm going to get some more here. So you don't have to do this. Here's the other thing too. So some of these things, I'm doing this in a very polished way, but when I first started out, I did all leather bracelets. I used to cut my leather and not finish the edges. And it's, you know, kind of like a natural boho look. And it looked great. So you don't have to have a whole bunch of materials to do it. And we'll just make sure those corner edges are dark, so they look like they're fit in. I'm going to have to get that a little bit with the knife. So that's it. Make sure you cover this up. You probably want to cover it while you're using it because it is messy. Okay, and that just dries pretty quick, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, which side? It looked like this one here needed some work. Now, I was getting ahead of myself. So this stuff here, burnishing gum, if you don't have this, you can use water, just wet the edge, and use a slicker to get it nice and shiny and round, like this. Okay. Let me grab some of this toconol. So you're just going to go around and just dab a little bit all along the edge. That. And I'm going to put some in here because I want to get this nice and rounded. Go to the other side. Some there. There, go all the way around. You can also stamp this leather before gluing it together. So one of the things I thought of doing was, if I have the eagle in the middle, I could put an American flag on either side of the eagle. So if you're interested in that, I'll show you how to make one of those. The stamping is really incredible because like it looks to me so finished and polished, and it's so easy to do, and the stamps don't look like much, but once you do it the correct way, and by the correct way all I mean is you wet your leather first and then you stamp it, and it's incredible. So let me wipe my hands here. Put the lid on this and let the fun begin. So I know most of my subscribers are bead weavers, and I do have to say this bracelet is not gender specific, but I know if you want to do something special for that special guy, then this would be an amazing project. So I'm just going to start with this kind of rounded edge just to get my little circle kind of rounded here. Okay, but you are going to use the size of this that matches with your leather. So I think this is, yeah, so this one's too small. If I can show you in the light. But so this one here, and you're just gonna hold it like this and just start going back and forth, and you can see it's starting to give you a nice edge. Now, because I did such a small bevel, you might not see the roundedness of this, but actually it's starting to come along. That. And just keep doing that all the way around on both sides. That. I should have music now. Do 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 do. You know, you can't play music on YouTube because they it's a software program that picks up copyrighted music. So they will send you a message to get rid of the music or get the copyright permission, and otherwise they'll take down your video. So I do not use I don't use any music. I know some of the beaters that don't have any like language or vocal speech, whatever. There's a little bit of a kind of edge in the middle. I'm trying to slick that out a bit. Get it smooth. And get in here. Okay, flip it over, do the other side. And this can be like a little bit tacky. It doesn't have to be, you know, white the way I applied it. I have heard some people use beeswax. I tried it once and it was really kind of grayish, white looking. I didn't like the look. I was wondering if maybe my wax is supposed to be beeswax. I think it's a combination of beeswax and paraffin. So it gave it a cloudy look. I'm like, nope, not my jam. So in case you're wondering how I came up with the width of the bracelet, I just want to let you know if you have a different size slider And they do have, I think they have another slider that's smaller than this one, and it has one of these loops on each wing. So if you happen to buy those instead of this, all I did was measure the inside from here to here to give me my distance. And the reason I'm talking about this now is throughout making the other one, I kept putting this back on to see. So you can see this is like super tight. We're going to have to squeeze it on, or I may have to compress this a little more, cut it a little more. I just took the size that I had for the other, and because I had done all the measurements, just worked on it that way. Let's see if I can round that out. And okay, let's take a look at what we have. So that's pretty good. I think that's all we need for all these like tools. Now it's glue time. We're going to slide these pieces on to the bracelet, and I'm going to double check my sizing on my mandrel just before I start gluing things. So I said I was going to do a 6. So the clasp, you can see there is a bit of space, and that's intentional because like I said, I don't like having these big pieces like this digging into my wrist, so that way that'll prevent that. So let's see how we manage with, well, first let's make sure this is going to go in perfect for the clasp, and see if the other side goes in like that. So I'm just going to find my, kind of shape it to my wrist. Take that off, and let's put this on. So it is a bit tight. Let's see if we can get that in there. And it is good that it's tight on one level because you don't want your bird, your eagle, going all over the place. So let me make sure this is centered. I'm just going to go just a tick more. If you're worried that this part got a little jammed, grab your slicker again and just smooth it out. There. There. Still needs to go some more. Okay, and let's get our beads on. So remember, there's a, as far as I can tell, a front and a back. So put those on. And you can place these wherever you want too. I tend to place them near the front because I want to see them. And again, the measurement that I took, it's measured enough. So this is like, it's not going to move around. If it is loose, you could potentially slide a little piece of leather in there to kind of wedge it in there, but it should be fine like that. And then front of this one, and slide that on. make sure. Let's move this over here. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to glue this just to show you this particular clasp has a curve in it. So this is the inside curve, and you could potentially have a top and bottom. I'm assuming that this is the bottom and this is the top because it's all finished. So you're going to flip it this way and put it on like that, and it just pulls up. So let's get some E6000 on there and we are done. So it's pretty easy. E6000, and it's quite deep in here, so you do need a bit of glue. Might as well get the other one in. And I would suggest if you're using E6000, it's really good. You leave it for 24 hours to dry, so don't mess with it after. Let's get that in. That. And this one goes this way. No, this way. This way. In like that. And that is it. So let's, oh look, I put it on because the bird, depends how you want your bird. I don't want my eagle upside down. I'm gonna switch this up. This one is mine, so I know somebody else wouldn't care, but I do. So just remember to put them on the correct way. There. I'm telling you, how many times have I made something and I'm like, oh, the clasp is on backwards and that's on upside down. What the heck? That way. Okay. And there. I knew I'd get it eventually. So there you go. This is how you make these lovely bracelets with these incredible components from Beebeecraft. So there you go. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you in the next video. Don't forget, the links are in the description, and Emma 10 gets you 10% off your entire order, and $25 or more is free shipping, and they always have sales. So if you see something that I suggest that's, you know, I give you a price of what I paid or what the price was when I got it, and the price has gone up, that has happened. Don't worry, just you know, go back every couple of weeks or whatever. It always goes on sale. You know, it's not a big deal. So there you go. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.